Hello, good afternoon, everybody.
Hello, good afternoon.
All right.
Hello, everybody.
So I'm James, the founder of eDirectory. Arca Solutions, actually, the company that develops eDirectory. Emerson and Gabriel from our marketing department here. Hello, guys. And we're excited to have another webinar today. So today we're going to talk about categories. Let's see, are we ready to get started, Emerson?
Ready.
So, great, okay. And just a little housekeeping, a little logistics. If anybody has any questions, just pop them into the Q&A on the Zoom here. There's the Q&A option. You can just pop your questions in and we'll stop periodically as well as at the end to answer questions about this topic or anything else you'd like to ask. All right, so let's jump in. So categories. Categories are one of the most important things in an online directory because it's sort of the structure about how people find the information that they're looking for. And so it's really important that you don't just sort of do it haphazardly. It's much better that you sit down, have a plan, and think about all of the categories that you want to add to the listings before you get started and get that planned out. And so eDirectory and directories in general, they're used for all sorts of different things. People are using for all sorts of different uses, etc. And so there's many different types of directories. Some of them have just a really large number of categories, whereas other ones may have a much smaller number. And so when you're thinking about your directory, it's a good idea to think about sort of how many categories are out there. And when you do that, also think about how those categories are going to fit with the layout of the site, and how many categories you're going to have above the fold on the page if you have a category widget. We'll show you some of that stuff here in a couple minutes, but it's a good idea to plan it in advance. So one thing people often ask about is, well, how much depth should my categories have? If you have a top level, which is like businesses, then you may have another level, which is like restaurants. And then under restaurants, you may have different cuisine types, Japanese food, and then you may have different types of Japanese food, sushi or Northern Japanese, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's a good idea to think about that and think about, what your user experience is going to be when people go in and click and browse and go through the directory and all of that. For it. In the old days, yellow pages, because the way people use like printed directories, they have to flip pages to go. And so you look at an index and if I have to go here and then look here and do all of that. And so in the old days, many directories didn't have very much depth to them. They were often long lists of very flat category structures with maybe one or two levels to them. With an online directory, it's much easier because you can click and kind of browse and go down very, very quickly. And so with that in mind, often you want to have a little bit more depth, but maybe not too many where the navigation goes way down. So often 2 levels, 3 levels, maybe 4 levels is kind of what people select. And it's good to think about that top level and make it enough where people can sort of fit it in a sort of in a visual space on their screen. If you think about it, is a good way, a good idea for doing that. And so that's how you kind of want to think about it visually. The other big thing to think about with categories is SEO. And you really want to think about that up front. There's different ways, synonyms, et cetera, different ways to say different things. And so, an example would be like car and automobile. And those two have very, very different search traffic on them. And so what we recommend you do is plan out your data, your directory set, and your categories, plan it out in advance. and then run it through some SEO tools is a great idea, where you take it and, Emerson could probably recommend a couple tools where basically you look at recommendations for different keywords, and you can see what kind of traffic is on each one of those keywords and really decide what you want to go for. The other thing is sometimes there's some, I don't know if hacks is the right word, but some things you want to do, like some cuisines on food, just back to this food example. eDirectory is used for all sorts of things, not food as well. But if you think about it, some people, there's some words that are really get a lot of traffic, and you may not want to put them too far down in the hierarchy. And this would be an example like, people searching for sushi. So if you do like, restaurants, Japanese, and then sushi way at the bottom, it may just be you want to move that up a little bit. So it's not too far, not too far down in the directory. So you may want to think about some things like that also when you're planning it. So think about all that stuff up front. And then when you get in there, there's a couple ways to get started with it. Emerson here in a second, and Gabriel, we're going to show you how to import categories. And we have, you can obviously add them when you add a listing, but we also have a bulk category creator where you can just kind of paste in a list and it'll just add all the categories immediately. But one of the best ways actually that I've found to import categories is actually just import them when you're adding data, when you're importing actual listings. So you take your listing set, you have a database of, however many, if you're importing 10,000 listings, don't add any categories to the system before you do that. Just get your spreadsheet looking really good, your CSV file, and then import that. And then the system will actually create the categories as you go there. One of the real tricks you can do when you're doing that is if you have the categories in there and then you sort the Excel column by the category, you can often see groups of listings in those categories all together. And that's an easy way. You can kind of scan down it very quickly and just make sure you don't have little typos in the category name, because it's pretty annoying if you have a little typo in one of the categories and then it adds another category into the system with just one listing in it, and everything else is there, and then you don't realize it, or you realize it later, and then you got to go back and clean it up. So that's one thing I wanted to mention as well. Also, when you're doing this, so you can import all the basic category information, which is basically the name, but the system has a bunch more SEO features about the categories that are just super important. These are like images. Each category can have an image that goes with the category. Meta tags, a description, all of that info is really, really important from an SEO standpoint to get it put in there when you're doing it. So spend the time, get the categories right. You can import them all first and then go in later and do the SEO thing, like upload the category images and all that afterwards, for sure. And let's see. Yeah, I guess the last thing I just wanted to mention is that years ago, when we were first getting started, there was a lot of companies that were actually transitioning from print directories, like print yellow page books, into online directories. And so there was a huge group of people. Today, most customers don't have a print directory that they're transitioning. It's like they start online and probably never go print. Sometimes they do, and that works out good sometimes too. But I remember one of the stats when I was talking to a yellow page publisher was that most people, when they're using a yellow page book, what they actually are looking for is a specific business phone number or something. Like they kind of know the name and they go in and search. And so that was like a slight majority of the searches, maybe 75% of the searches were that. But then the other 25% were the category searches. And the interesting thing was those categories were the most important thing, because those people are looking to actually make a purchase decision. Whereas if you already know the business name and you're just looking for the phone number, you're not looking to make a purchase. You've already made your purchase decision. It's already been done. And so that having the category there and a bunch of different options of listings, that's really the power of the directory. So it's important to get the categories right, get them looking good, get them coming up on SEO, and put the time into it. Great. So I guess that's my opener. Emerson, Gabriel, do you guys have anything to add at this point? Should I turn it over to you?
Yeah, sure, James. One other thing that worth the highlight is that the directory allows for many top categories to be assigned to a listing or an event or a classified, etc., to all the modules that are present in the directory. And it's very important to know that because some of our customers and some people will think that they will have to choose just one category for them. So on the example you mentioned about the sushi restaurant, so we can have a sushi as a main category, top category, and the same restaurant may have another Asian type of cuisine. So having these as top categories is possible to have that in a directory, and it will also help on listings, and of course on a later moment on SEO rankings, etc.
Let me add one thing to that, Emerson. That's a great note to bring up. One thing is many of the competing systems out there, they only allow in some of the modules, they only allow one category option, and so our system is great because it's really flexible with that. One other thing to keep in mind, though, is the system. We actually have some category limits that you can configure, like how many categories can a listing add. And there's defaults at different listing levels. So like a bronze level, maybe 3, and then 5, and then 10. One thing, we often have people that come to us and they're like, hey, well, I just want to make it unlimited. I want somebody to be able to add unlimited categories for a listing. And the real problem with that, we really don't recommend it. It's pretty easy for us to make that change if you need more categories added there, but we really don't recommend it just because your data gets cluttered if you do that. If you have a listing that's in every category, the value of it isn't quite as good. So really think about that and really try to restrict it, because the curation is super important. And also watch your listings when they're coming in, if they're added by the customers, because people know, like restaurants, they love being in the hotel category, because people, they're booking a hotel and then, man, they see that restaurant listing there, and that works pretty good, but it's not so great for your directory about that. So really try to stay on top of it.
Yeah, and besides that, we have the SEO point of view, because if you don't have enough content or relevant content around that keyword related to that category, so it won't worth the shot and the work of having all these sets to a specific category.
Great.
Okay, so let me show you quickly the backend of eDirectory and how to edit and create categories. I'm going to share my screen. Just a second. I hope everybody can see my screen. Okay. Okay, yeah, perfect. Sure. So categories will be found inside the contents. Then you go to listing, events, classifieds, articles, or blog. These don't have categories because they are related to the listing. So probably it's related to the main category of these listings. So when you access the module, you see the button for the categories. Then you can see what you already have, and you can create one by one, or take advantage of this bulk creator that will first create the categories, and then you'll have to add it to one by one, as I'm going to show you, to add more valuable information. Let me see this. Let's edit this one. So you will start choosing the name for the category, the keywords related to these categories. The first field for keywords are for the internal search inside your website, not for SEO purposes. Then you can select if this category is going to be featured. So we have these widgets available to build your pages. And one of these widgets are called featured categories by images or by icons. So selecting this option will make this category featured. And you can, of course, in the future, if you need, disable this one as well. So we are going to have thumbnail, an image for this category, also an icon to work on the different widgets available. This one is related to a plugin installed in our website that is for the map pin. We have a tailored map plugin that displays these pins, so you can disregard that. And then the SEO advanced options. So we can have the page title, the slug URL, the keywords for search engines, the meta description, which is the crucial part of this optimization. And you can also add more contents to the category page, which is basically the search results page, but focus on just this category in a specific. So you can add more text here, some title tags, more images, etc., to make it even more relevant to the search engines. This is the behavior for the main categories and also for subcategories as well. Let me show you a subcategory here. You will have the same options. The only difference is that subcategories does not have the featured feature. So that's the main difference. But besides that, you have all the same structure for SEO on subcategories as well. From my end here, that's pretty much it. Because it works the same way for events, classifieds, articles, and blog. So you can have your categories and you can do these SEO optimizations in each one of them. Anything to add, James, before I pass to Gabriel?
No, that's great. Thanks. Thanks, Emerson.
Okay, Gabriel, it's your turn.
All right. So hello, everybody. I'm going to share my screen here. Just a second. So I believe you're seeing our demo directory here, right? Yeah. So yes, this is our demo directory. I want to show you guys now how you could customize, how you can show your categories to your clients. With eDirectory, you have a few options to do that, to how to display your categories. The most common use of them is this one, where you can browse by category and you can choose all of your categories in your directory with images. This is one option that you have. I wanted to show you guys this option here, where you can choose your show your categories by icons. It's a very fun way to show the main categories on your directory, and is not the most common that you see around there. So first, what you're going to do is going to log in on your backend right here. This is actually a widget, so we have to work on the design tab. Page editor. I'm going to apply these changes on our home page, which is this main page right here. You can do that with other pages. Let's stick to the home page. All right, so here we have our drag and drop design tool. We are looking for this widget right here. I'm going to scroll down and we're going to see all the options that we have to show our categories. This one is the feature categories with images. This one's the same, but a type 2. This is actually the one we have on our website right now. You can choose to feature the categories by a list, like this one. And you have the one with the icons. So I'm going to choose this one. Since I already have it here, I've chosen it before. One thing you can do is just drag and drop to whatever place you want on your website. You can do this. And once it's here, you can edit a few things. For example, you can change the title like this. Right now it's find by category. You can change by anything you want. And also you can change the link here. Right now, see all categories. You can change for whatever you want. And you can change the colors to match your brand, to match your own directory website, whether it's a brand color, neutral, which is the one I went for, or white. So you're going to click Save Changes here. And the widget is going to be applied. So how do I customize this? How do I put the icons here? So once you're done with this, we're going to go to the content module and we're going to go to listings. So it's similar to what Emerson just showed us. We're going to choose the categories tab right here. and we're going to locate the featured categories. For example, the featured ones I have is auto, beauty and fitness, entertainment, so on. I'm going to choose the auto one because it's missing the icon here. How do I know this is a featured category? You can choose to edit a category right here. Show advanced options, and you'll click featured. So if I uncheck this box right here, this would come off. This would just appear. I want it to be featured. You can choose the main image. This image is the same one that is being displayed here. So you can, with the same setting, you can choose both the image and the icon. The icon, I recommend you guys to use this website, icons8.com. Pretty much a repository for any kind of icon that you might need, really. So I just typed in car, and let's say I want to select this car right here. Just pay attention to the maximum dimension of this image. It has to be 50 by 50 pixels, okay? So it can't be big. The cool thing about this website is that you can recolor. Let's say, okay, my brand, I wanted to match for a more like dark red burgundy style. So you can go around and you can change the colors. Let's say I want these blues to become red, these blues to become gray. All right, so that's the car I want. Just click download. You can choose the sizes. These two are free. Let's say I want the 48 pixels. Just click download for free. You're gonna sit on your computer. All right. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna choose file. You're gonna get the same file that you already downloaded. Let's say it's this one. Click open, and it's gonna show it right here. Just save it. Okay, let's see if it worked. Let's visit my site. Scroll down, few options. Oh, sorry, let's go back up. There we go. So this is how you can use this filter by categories with icons. So it's pretty much a pretty straightforward process. So also, if you have any doubts, please contact us on this. But this is not a very common way to display your categories, but it's a very fun way that you can use to match your brand colors, your brand logo, etc. That's pretty much it from my end right here. Stop the share. So anything else you guys, Emerson and James, could add on this?
No, I think that about covers it. We did have a question from Kevin about what happens when you enter content, and I think that was on Emerson's screen. But the content section is just the description. It's a text description of the category. Talking about the category a little bit. So I think that explains it. Are there any other questions? Do you have anything else to add, Emerson? Or
there is a question from Mary Beth. Can you populate the type of info you would upload in keyword and meta description? Let me answer that. I would recommend to write each category with their specific content around that, because every keyword is different. So every category has its own keyword. And there's not a regular content you can put in all pages, because otherwise we're going to compete against ourselves. So none of our pages will rank well. So you can cannibalize your SEO adding the same type of content in this meta description and keyword fields. I hope it answers the question. You are on mute, James, but there's an okay.
Yeah, along that line, Kevin had a follow-up question about that content. I don't know if you can pull that screen back up again to just show him that field, and then we can explain exactly where it goes. Is that might just be better? It's sort of the same sort of thing. Yeah, when the categories have a little text bit that goes below them. And then also there's some SEO information that goes in the meta tags for the HTML as well.
Now I was on mute. Just regarding the Kevin's question, if it appears on the website, no, it will appear on the search results page on Google or Bing. The meta description and the page title, slug, URL, all these elements of SEO will be displayed on Google search result pages. So having this text sharply written, it's good to increase the click-through rate on the search pages. And the most recent strategies to always, besides being short, like 150 characters, always end up with something like click to know more, click to visit, some call to action to really drive user to visit your pages. So that's another strategy for optimizing categories and meta description.
Okay, great. I hope that answered it. Let's see. Oh, we had a question just about, can we email the recording of this webinar? Yes, we can do that. If anybody else wants to receive it, just pop your email address in the chat here and we'll send that to you. We had a follow-up question, Emerson, from Mary Beth. Also, is it possible to have deals organized by category? So deals, yeah, I mean, they sort of are because they're associated with the listing. Do we have a widget for that, Emerson? Do you know offhand? For the deals to list them by category?
Yeah, let me double check. But deals, as deals are related to the listings, so there's not specific categories for deals. They are related to the listing, and listing related to its own categories. Let me double check if we have widgets specifically for deals. That's the question. Let me just.
Yeah, just while you're checking that, if you want to check on that and see if we have a widget, I'll answer. Let's see, we have one come in from Warren Phelps, listings front of the site. Why is it that listings do not refresh automatically with new content with a page refresh? Current listings are static content. So yes, so the thing with eDirectory is it's built to be a scalable platform, and so there's some caching, page caching and things like that behind the scenes. So when you do add new content, it does get on the site and it will be updated, but it isn't just like you add it and then it's immediately there or rotated there. And the reason for that is just some of the pages are cached and there's an elastic search index and everything that goes in to make the results come up quick and be scalable. So but the listings certainly do refresh. They're not static. There's just some caching, and there's some of the things that are randomly ordered also. That randomness to them is run by a cron job, a scheduled task that I think runs daily to update the order on some of those things. So stuff does update. It is, you know, especially if you have a whole bunch of different visitors coming in at different times, you may just not realize it immediately. Okay. Are you still looking there, Emerson?
Yes, we have the cards widgets that can be used for deals as well. So you can display the best deals and make some change the orders. You can pick items individually and sort by the level of the listing. Let me just finish the settings here, and I can show you how it looks. Okay,
great. And what was the name of that widget again, Emerson? It's the cards widget, right? Which can be used to display various things, but deals is one of those.
Yeah,
Emerson's
that's right.
going to show you. Also, Kevin had a question. He'd like to see that field, if you can go back when you have a second on the to do that screen share where we can show them where the meta description shows up for that.
Okay.
That live. Still waiting in an overdue eDirectory. We had a question about an overdue eDirectory site update. I assume that means an upgrade to the directory. Warren, we'll check on that and see what the schedule is and try to get that pushed through for you. I'll note that right here and we'll follow up with you on that.
There's another one from Amber on chat. So we have individuals signing up for our categories. Is there a way to change text to not be plural? I.e., the social media widget says follow us, and I wanted to change it to follow me.
Yes, I think for that, I think what you can do, best thing to do is email our support team, support@eDirectory.com, and they can follow up with you on how to make that change. I think it's a very quick change to a language file that may need to be done for that if it's not available in a widget, but many things are available in the widgets. But if you send them a link, hey, I want to change follow us to follow me right here with the link, the URL, they'll be able to follow up with you on that. Is there a master list of widgets? Sort of there is. If you go into the page editor and just hit add widget, you'll see the list of all of them there that you can kind of browse down through them. Also, our support system has a list, has widgets in it as well. If you get to support.edirectory.com, there's some information in the knowledge base about the different widgets for that. So. All right.
Okay, I believe I can do a quick screen share while you get organized on the questions. So let me just show you two more things here. One is the widget for the cards widgets for the category, the deals, I'm sorry. That's similar to this one we have on our demo website. Unfortunately, our own marketing department demo site has no deals available, so that's why I took a bit of time trying to show you this. But that's how it works. Let me just edit the widgets. That's how it looks. No, not this one. Okay, I'm going to feature. Okay, deals here. We have the card, so you can use this this widget to display the deals. You can pick up the number of columns if you're going to display, and you can choose if you're going to display banners, add banners or not, to keep just your brand on the website. And you can customize the rules or pick items individually. If you're going to customize the rules, then you can show deals by category or by specific locations. That's are the basic and main options to customize the widgets. And once you have the content, of course, it's going to be displayed just like this one you are seeing right now. Now going back to SEO portion of the categories, I hope that answers Kevin's question here. This meta description is what's going to be displayed on Google's search result pages and the keywords that we're going to rank for on this page. So that's the main important elements. And the basic of SEO is having the same keyword on all 4 elements: on page title, on URL, on keywords, and description. You can also add more content here. This content will be displayed on the listing page, the category listing category page on the website. This is for the website. All this meta description is for Google.
Emerson, let me jump in. So the content section that's actually displayed like below the category in some sections and some widgets of the website. So that will be displayed for front end users. The meta description and the meta stuff is in the HTML header. So it is in the HTML and Google uses it and picks it up, but a user viewing it won't actually see that.
Yeah, that's correct.
And it's good with the content. You can put in, you know, stylize it as you want as well, and that's helpful. I hope that answered. I think it's pretty clear, hopefully now, Kevin.
Okay.
Okay, great. Any more questions? Anybody have anything else? No more questions. Okay. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. If anybody has any follow-up questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach out to our account executives. We have online chat. You can talk to our sales team, talk to our support team. Send us an email, support at eDirectory. And stay tuned for, we have another webinar coming up in 2 weeks or so. And thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.
too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.